Hey, what's up? It's Patrick, and today I just want to give you a little rant, a little bit of overview. Why am I doing these videos in the first place? Well, to be honest, I really postponed doing this. I pushed it to the side all the time, and I really wanted to do it, but I never really pushed for it. And the reason why was because I was afraid, to be honest. I was afraid to put something out there. It's good to realize that you're afraid of something and that you really don't want to do it because fear is holding you back. What I want to explain to you right now is why I right now just decided to do it anyways. Well, I'm a psychology student, so we study the human brain, the mind. We study also stuff like biology or evolution. So as soon as you get in contact with evolutionary psychology, you understand that sometimes your biology is meant to hold you back. It's meant to keep you in place. It's meant to maybe also like keep you from doing something that is fearful or that's scary. The main point I want to make is right now, if you understand and study your evolution, your biology, you most likely understand yourself, and you also understand why are you doing certain things, why are you not doing certain things, and how to change it. Now I want to break down for you what I mean by understand your evolution, understand your biology, to understand yourself and ultimately make change. Well, okay, when we talk about creativity, this is a creative endeavor. This is something where I create something, put it out at the end, which also means I expose myself in a certain way. I present myself to people, and I expose myself also to being rejected, of people talking badly behind my back, maybe also into my face, which is really scary. The question is, why is it so scary to be creative, to put something out there, to put yourself out there? Well, evolution is something that can tell us a lot about this phenomenon. The reason why that is because this comes from really animalistic, innate tendencies. So just to back up a little bit, when you think about it, human beings are also animals, to be honest. Animals come in different shapes and forms. They're like maybe alone, or they're in tribes or in herds, however you want to put it. We as human beings also come in tribes, so we have a lot in common with those animals. In nature, there are animals that can camouflage against the background, and animals that can camouflage against the herd in order to protect themselves from being eaten up by predators, or to just like camouflage themselves to not be seen at all. So there are animals like chameleons that can camouflage themselves against the background. They change super fast. That's why they don't need a herd to not be seen by predators, but they just need their background. Well, like I said, human beings don't have much in common with chameleons, so we pitch that for a second. Well, there are other animals like zebras. Zebras, for example, they're really visible in the savannah. They're like really visible against the background, so you can see the white and black stripes. Why is that bad? Well, predators can see them and readily jump at them and kill them. Well, what is their advantage? One zebra looks just like the other zebra. They all look alike. Because they all look alike, it's really easy for them to camouflage against the herd. Now, think back to creativity. Creativity is a way of looking different than the rest. So one zebra all of a sudden looking different than the rest of the zebras. Imagine one zebra would not be black with white stripes or white with black stripes, but just a different color. He would stand out. He would be prey super easily. He's gonna be attacked by the other animals. So human beings have the same tendency. We try to camouflage against the herd. We try to be exactly like everybody else. That's why being creative is so dangerous, because you put yourself out there and risk to be attacked by a predator, to be eaten up by someone. But in our case, it's not the case that we get eaten up, but just that people start criticizing us, people start to be ridiculing us, maybe even rejecting us from the tribe. That is why being creative is so like dangerous and scary. But that's also the reason why I want to do that, because this is an innate tendency that is not rational at all. Nothing will happen in the end when I put this video out. Nobody will start to ridicule me, even if I could care less, because it's not a real danger, it's just made up in my mind. So what I want to encourage you to do is understand your evolution and understand your biology, understand where is your problem rooted in and why is it there in the first place, and then understand, is it rational or not, adjust and just go for whatever you want to do, because in the end it doesn't even matter, we're not going to get eaten by a tiger. Alright, let's unpack this. Just like other animals, human beings come together in groups. We come together in tribes, we operate in tribes because it has been shown to be adaptive and it has been shown to be advantageous when it comes to survival in a hostile environment. Nowadays we traded in our natural habitat for cities and we erected skyscrapers and there are cars everywhere. So we are living in a civilized society. Civilization, if you think about it, is a relatively new concept. When you compare it to the rest of existence, civilization is just a little blip. Therefore, some parts of our brain, some part of our biology has not been fully caught up yet. One part that has not been fully caught up is the reptilian brain. Now, the reptilian brain is the oldest part of our brain, the one that is developed first. It is the brain that we kind of share with other animals. It is the part of the brain that lets us behave towards primal instincts. Now, our reptilian brain is really good in identifying if a stimulus or a situation is dangerous, but sometimes it gets it wrong. Now, in this video, I try to tackle this problem or try to explain this phenomenon of misidentifying a situation or an ambiguous stimulus as fearful by giving you the example of creativity. Now again, creativity is a way of standing out of the crowd, standing out of the tribe. It is a way of looking different from other people. But it's also a way of exposing yourself to the dangers of predators attacking you or you being kicked out of the tribe, which back in time would have led inevitably to death. But nowadays that we live in civilized societies, that is not the case anymore. Therefore, this fear is rather irrational. What is the worst thing that can happen? The worst thing that can happen is that someone says that they think your nature photography sucks, or that they don't think that your paintings are nice, or maybe that they think your music is obnoxious. This is almost the worst that can happen. The fear of being kicked out of the tribe or being attacked by a predator are really irrational. In an attempt to solving this problem and attacking this phenomenon, I want to introduce you to exposure therapy and the CBT approach. CBT stands for Cognitive Behavioral Therapy. So these two approaches are used in a clinical setting quite often when dealing with patients that suffer from phobias. Now, phobias are fears that are rather irrational. Those are fears, for example, of snakes or spiders or even public places. Now, the way that exposure therapy and CBT approach works is it tries to identify if the fear response to an ambiguous stimulus is rational or irrational. It tries to identify if it's irrational or rational and not if it's real or not, because most of these fears are very real in the minds of the participants or of the minds of the patients. Now, our brain is plastic. That means it can change, it can adapt. Now, we can use this neuroplasticity for our advantage. We can try to provoke certain situations, interpret them differently, and ultimately try to change our brain, the way our brain is wired. We can trick our reptilian brain. In terms of creativity, we could approach this in the following way. First, figure out if your fear is rational or irrational. Now, this process will go pretty easily because you just have to ask yourself, what is the worst thing that can potentially happen? If the worst thing that can potentially happen is that someone says that your paintings suck, your fear is pretty irrational. Now, secondly, like I said before, we want to inch our way towards the new behavior pattern. We want to take baby steps. We want to take one step at a time. Now, the way to go about this in terms of creativity is just start out putting out your artwork under a artist name. This is a safe way of doing it, because if you put it out under artist name, it's anonymous. Nobody knows who it is. Then gather the feedback. Now the third step is to create a circular structure. You first want to assume a frame that is positive, that figures out that your fear is irrational. Then secondly, you want to test that frame in real life. You want to inch your way towards a new behavior pattern and extinct that old behavior pattern of thinking that the ambiguous stimulus is fearful. Now, in the last step, you're going to gather feedback and will, through a feedback loop, bring it back to your frame. You now know if your new frame works. This is basically a pattern of testing and getting feedback and then retesting. And I hope this video was really helpful for you to make that step toward expressing yourself more in terms of creativity, to put your art out there and yourself out there. Let me know in the comments what your creative outlet is and how you aim to putting yourself out there more, expressing yourself more. Finally, if you liked that video, make sure to drop it a like. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel to stay up to date for the newest uploads. And I see you next time. Peace.